So I love The Harder They Fall. I mean, it's such a blast. All the characters are
Yeah.
so well thought out. What about it, though, really interested you in the project since this is also your first time in the Western genre?
Yeah. I really liked the way the script was written, all the kind of the music cues, everything was already written into it. And it was very easy to sort of visualize this kind of epic film that felt larger than life and fun and playful while also having, for me as an actor, kind of this grounded story to play in and to perform in. And so that was sort of this like initial kind of fun element. But then also, after reading the script and doing some research, realizing that, Black people were a large part of the West and the sort of Western narrative in American history. And it felt significant to me to bring that into our film narrative of what the West looked like and kind of reconfiguring that narrative and talking with Jeymes, who is this very like infectious and vibrant being. I felt like he had a really clear vision on the kind of story he wanted to make. And I just kind of, I don't know, ticked a bunch of boxes that I thought were interesting and I dove in.
So one of the elements that I think is so vital to the film that is portrayed so well is yours and Jonathan Majors' chemistry as Nat and Mary. I mean, what was that like for you building that off camera before bringing that into each take?
Yeah, Jeymes, bless him, because this doesn't happen all the time in film. He allotted time before we started shooting for all of us to rehearse basically every scene and multiple times. And, that as somebody who grew up kind of doing theater and loving theater, building community is a big part of it. And sometimes when you're shooting just like camera work, you just get thrown in and you jump in and you do the scene and like, it can be kind of vulnerable and you don't really, you don't have an established relationship. And so it was nice for Jonathan and I to like build foundations on a scene, which obviously would change when we would shoot, but at least we had kind of like, all right, this is like the groundwork we've done. And we were able to sort of talk about our backstory, things that don't get brought up on camera, but obviously sort of feed our characters and our relationship. And so Jeymes gave us all the time to do that with each other. And I think that really helped in terms of sort of the interpersonal relationships portrayed on screen.
Well, that's fantastic that you got that opportunity. So in addition to the great character work, there's also obviously all these amazing action sequences in the film. And I know with Deadpool 2, you had done some of your own stunt work. And so did you get to do a lot of the same with this film?
Yeah, I always try to do as much as I can. I want to take as much ownership of the character as I can and her movement, and also me being committed to learning the movement and learning what is a part of, in this case, Mary. But I've, will say I definitely had a stunt woman, Nicolette, who helped me in my training and learning a lot of that. And then also, there are certain things like in the, Regina and I have this larger fight sequence and, we really wanted to like stay safe. And there was, there's a lot of elements to that. There were like a lot of props and a lot of things like that. And so certain things I was like, I feel like I just want to make sure this goes off well. And so then I'd let Nicolette take over. But, that's a thing, I think, in any action film, even for me in Deadpool, I did on screen the majority of the sort of stunt work, I think as I did in this film, but would not have really happened had I not had my stunt woman with me then as well, or the whole stunt team as a whole. So, if like I can't land a punch right, I turn to her and I'm like, how do you do it? Teach me. And so it's totally like a collaboration.
Well, I think the collaboration is fantastic between you, between the cast, between Jeymes, and I think people are going to love it. So I can't wait to spread the word about it. Thank you so much for taking the time to chat. I really
Thank
appreciate
you.
it.